Hey there, drone fans. Rick here again from Drone Valley. You can already tell that I'm smiling ear to ear, and that can only mean one thing. Today, DJI announced a brand new drone called the Mavic Mini. Now, there's been a ton of speculation about this drone for the last couple of months. There have been FCC filings that have leaked. There were labels that came out. There have been some pictures that people got their hands on, and the speculation's been running wild on how far this drone can fly, how big it's going to be, what kind of features are packed into it. And honestly, I've been waiting for this thing to be announced so I could order one, get it in here in the shop, and actually start testing it. Well, the good news is, I was lucky enough to be invited into the group to test this thing before it was actually released. And 2 days ago, the doorbell rang, and outside on my porch was a brand new Mavic Mini. And I cannot wait to tear open this box and start playing with this drone. Now, it's going to be kind of a weird clip because you're watching this clip 2 weeks after the drone arrived, but I haven't opened it yet. So it's kind of a time shift, if you will. I want to open this with you because I know a lot of you enjoy sort of seeing what comes with the kit, understanding exactly what the technology can provide, because if you're going to make a decision to buy the product, you kind of want to know what it can do before you make that purchase. So I'm going to spend a few minutes, I'm going to tear open the box, and then I'll take a breath, maybe I'll get a nap, and I'll come back and actually do close-ups on all the technology inside, explain how you charge it, explain how you make connections, show you what the controller looks like, show you what the drone looks like, and all the accessories that come with it. But if I keep talking, I'm never going to get into the box. So let's tear open the box and see what comes with the Mavic Mini. Before we get too deep into it, I have the Fly More combination kit. Now, I understand, I don't have a lot of details on it yet, but I understand that the Fly More combination is the higher price product. It's got a few extra things in it that the standard package doesn't have. So I'll spend a few minutes and try and figure out what the differences are between the packages, and I'll explain that once I finish the unboxing, but I really want to get inside this box. So here's a picture on the front of the box. You can see there's a controller. A lot of people are speculating it wouldn't have a controller. It does have a controller, which looks pretty similar to the ones we've used before with most of the Mavic products. And there's the drone. The beautiful part about this drone is they talk about it down here being a ultralight 249 grams, which means they just sneaked it in under that 250 gram weight limit, which means you don't have to register it with the FAA. Now, that's not saying you can fly it like a crazy person. You still have to kind of follow the rules, but you don't need to get a license to fly this from the FAA. You don't have to register it at all, which is, I think, their intention. For me, what this thing really represents is I'll fly it like crazy outside, but I love flying indoors when it's really rainy weather or it's the winter, which is now. It's the perfect time to have a drone like this come out. So I'm going to be flying this thing like nuts inside the house. Anyway, that's the front. The side's got a lot of information about exactly all the certifications that are out there. It works with Apple, works with Android, made for iPhone. It'll work with that. It's got specifications on the battery sizes and how the thing gets charged. There's a picture on the back with all the stuff that comes with the Fly More combination ones I've got in front of me. And then finally, some more certifications on that side. So that's all the boring stuff. You can look at the box yourself. Maybe I'll do some close-ups and post them, but I want to get inside this thing. So here we go. Oh man, this is so cool. I can't tell you how much fun I have opening up a new box with new drones, because DJI is one of those companies that I kind of think I know what they're coming out with, but then they release it and there's always surprises. So let's get into it. All right, so let me pop open the box. All right, so for starters, it's got a lot of stuff in there. The first thing you're going to notice is that it comes with a really nice case. Look at that case. That's a beautiful case, and it's got DJI Mavic on the front of it. Then there's another box next to it here. I'll open that in a second. Oh, and a bunch of stuff in the bottom. Let me stand up. It might be easier if I do it this way. So in the bottom, there's another package right there. There's a package that's got a picture of a charger on it, so I imagine that's the charger. Then there's another big box down the bottom that's pretty heavy, and there's a label on there, battery. So maybe that's the battery for the drone. So now we've opened this thing up. Let me get this guy out of the way for a second, and we'll take a look at some of this other stuff. So let me open this big box first. Nah, the heck with that. Let me get into the drone. That's really what I care about. That's all you guys care about. We'll talk about all this stuff in a minute. All right, so inside the case, when you first open it up, man, this is a really nice case. It feels crush-proof, and it's got a really nice sort of textured exterior to it. Nice and gray. I like that a lot. All right, so you ready for this? Because, man, again, I've seen pictures. I haven't seen the drone. So let's see what it looks like. There's the drone, and then there's a bunch of other stuff. So there's the controller. I'm not sure what that thing is. We'll tear all this open and take a look at it, but let me get to the drone. Man, oh man, it's like they took a Mavic Pro and put it in a shrink machine. It really is. It looks exactly like a Mavic, but tinier. I'd say it's probably a third the size of a Mavic, but it's foldable. Look at this. So you fold out the arms, you fold down the arms, and there you go. That's your Mavic Mini right there. Boy, is that nice and tight, nice and portable. It's so small. I just wonder how far it's going to fly, how long it's going to stay up, how far it'll fly. I can't wait to get this thing up in the air and play with it. But all right, so I'll take closer looks at this once we get through some of the unboxing stuff. Let me set that guy down for a second right there. Inside the box, in addition to that, you have the controllers. Let's take a look at that. All right, so there's the controller. And again, it's a really familiar controller. if you've flown any of their Mavic products out there, again, dual antennas that spin. You've got 2 joysticks. They're actually removable joysticks, which are, again, underneath right here, and I'll take close-ups of this and show you. But essentially, you've got the same controller, but simpler. There's a lot of buttons that are missing, things that are different. You're missing the 2 C buttons on the bottom. There's no knob over here. The controller looks very simple. Oh, another thing is there's no USB connection on the bottom. There used to be a full-size USB-A there. You can connect to a tablet, so I'll figure out how to get around that. But it looks like it is a physical connection, so it's not a Wi-Fi connection between your phone and this like it is on the Spark, which was a headache for a lot of people. It's nice they've got a wired connection, so it looks like it plugs inside, just like the Mavic, comes down and plugs into your phone. So we'll take a better look at that when I get a chance to get through the rest of this stuff, because man, this is cool. All right, so this one's got me really intrigued, because it's really light. It might be some kind of charging base or something. I don't know. Let's see what it looks like. all right. So, this is gonna blow your mind. So, those are the batteries. So it's a charging hub. They slide in the end, and that's pretty cool, right? We've seen charging hubs before. That's a nice little package to carry the batteries and protect them. But wait a minute, there's connections on the end over here that it's a micro USB connection, but there's a full-size USB-A connection next to it. So I wonder what that's for. My suspicion is when these batteries are charged, or even if they're half charged, if you put them back in this dock, I'll bet you, and again, I gotta test this, that this thing can act like a battery bank. You can connect the USB-A connection here and then power your phone with it or power your controller with it. So I'm gonna have to play a lot with this one. So we'll see where that goes. All right, in the bottom of the unit, let's see what else we got. There's another box here and another smaller box here, which I don't have any idea what's in it. So let me get this out of the way for a second. All right, so inside there's 2 more boxes. This box has, looks like a bunch of stuff in it. I can't wait to get it open. I swear this is like Christmas here. It's almost Christmas, so it probably counts. All right, so inside that box, I don't need it. We got a bunch of stuff. So it looks like 2 cables for charging. That makes sense. I've got a USB-A, both are USB-A, full size to micro USB. So I imagine the drone probably charges on micro USB. The controller charges on micro USB. And so does this charging hub. So all 3 of these charge on micro USB connections. I know that's a little disappointing to some people. I would have liked to see USB-C on there because I like to fast charge it, but who knows? Maybe we can fast charge it through the micro USB. All right, here are the connection points, the cables you'd use from the side of the controller down to your phone. So you'll pick whatever flavor phone you've got. Looks like a micro USB, a USB-C, and an Apple connection. So it's got all the standard connections you need. There's another set of joystick studs here that go on the top. So if you lose one of those joysticks, you've got a spare set here. And then finally, there's something small in here. What is this thing? Let me open. It's a screwdriver. Now, why would I need a screwdriver? Let me take a look at that drone because I have a suspicion. Yep. So to cut down on weight and probably cost as well, unlike the Mavic where you've got that twist lock to put the propellers on, these propellers screw right into the motor. So you need a little screwdriver to do that. Isn't it nice that DJI included this? I'm sure somewhere in this kit, there's spare propellers as well. So let me get to that real quick. All right, there's another box inside there. Let me open that up. Let's see what's in there. There's the spare propellers. All right, so with the Fly More kit, you get 3 sets of propellers and there's something else in the bag. Oh, screws. Okay, so it's nice. You can reuse the screws that are on there, but if you lose those screws, you can actually use, I guess, these spare screws that come with it. So with the Fly More, you get apparently the charging hub and 3 propellers. I'm not sure if you get this with the standard unit or not. We'll see. All right, so what's in this box? Let's go. Oh, man, this is cool. All right, this is your charging charger for the wall. So that's a standard charger, but that'll tell us a lot about how this thing charges. So let me take a look at it real close and see if it's just the standard charger. No, it's not. Okay, so it's got multiple voltages on there. It's got 5 volts, looks like 9 volts and 12 volts, which means something in this group fast charges. Something in there's got a Qualcomm ability to fast charge, which you can do through micro USB. A lot of people don't know that. They think you need USB-C for it, but you can fast charge through micro USB. So we're gonna have to see if I can actually fast charge these devices with this. That's gonna be pretty cool. All right, what's in here? It's another package. Let me get into that. Wow, a lot of manuals. All right, so there's a, looks like a Fly More combo, tells you what's in the box. This is a quick start guide. There's descriptions about it with accessories, so there's probably other accessories for this. There's a complete user's manual that gives you all the details you need to know about how to fly. Oh, this is really nice. There's a little pictogram thing that for new flyers, and I imagine this is going to be the first drone for a lot of people that are buying drones out there. And I'll probably do a clip on, you know, beginner's guide to using the Mavic Mini here so that you guys understand exactly how to get it going from startup to get it up in the air. But they give you a little diagram here with pictures on it to show you how to do that. And then finally, the warranty information. So a nice packet of information here that I'm going to read through. I'm going to be especially interested in the owner's manual to find out how to charge it safely, how to fly it safely, how long it'll fly, how far it'll fly. But the accessory one's got me interested too, because I'm wondering what kind of accessories they're coming out for with this technology. All right, this one's pretty heavy. I'm betting this is the battery. I wonder how many batteries they give us. It's kind of a small box, but There's 3 batteries. All right, this is pretty cool. So in the Fly More combo, you get 3 batteries. I'm sure you probably get 1 battery with the basic one, but again, I'll spend some time and figure out exactly what comes with each, and then I'll show you what, oh, those batteries are neat. I'll show you what comes with each once I figure it out. So let me get these guys out of the wrapper. All right, so looking at the battery, first off, 2400 milliampere hours, and it's a 7.2 volt battery. Yeah, 7.2 volt battery. You know what's interesting? I don't see any way on the battery to test its charge level. So I'm not sure how we do that. I'll have to look again through the manual to see if I can get some information on that. Maybe you can only tell when it's in the hub, but these basically slide down in the hub like that, and you can see that this one, that's interesting, this one's fully charged. Maybe it's not, maybe it just went through a self-test, but all 3 nestle down inside the hub. Then you charge all 3 with that micro USB connection on the side using this in the wall. Now, I got a million questions on this. I'm sure you guys do as well. So make sure you hit the comments below and ask me, because I'm going to put together a top 20 or top 10 questions that you guys have asked and answered them. One of the questions I have is, can I parallel charge all these batteries, or do I have to sequentially charge them like all the other hubs? My suspicion is, because of the current rating on that power supply, they're probably going to charge one at a time and walk their way through, starting with the one that needs the least amount of charge. So I'll test that and let you guys know how that turns out. So let me plug all these guys in real quick. Well, you can't put them in backwards. That's kind of handy. All right, so there's all 3 plugged in, and they come on for a second and then they go back out. All right, so that's the charging hub. Man, is that a nice little package to carry around with your batteries? And this fits right in that Fly More combo case, so that's pretty cool. All right, so I'm really curious about this one. This is a gigantic, oh, I see what this is. It's a propeller guard. So that's really nice. So I guess with a new drone like this, a lot of flyers are going to take some time to get used to flying it, and they're going to need to be able to fly it in the house or around trees if it's a small backyard. So having propeller guards that I can snap on the drone to keep it from crashing into something and destroying the propellers is a really good idea. So there's 2 of these in there. And again, I'll spend some time putting these together and showing you how they connect up to the unit, but they're pretty nice. They're pretty complete. I guess they just snap on top of the motors, and then they'll protect the propellers if you're flying it in the house so you don't crash and cause damage in the house. I mean, my challenge is, I've flown a lot of drones in the house, and for a while I was banned flying drones in the house because they knocked over a few lamps, and that didn't go over well with my wife. But at any rate, I've gotten better flying since then, but I will be flying this thing like nuts in the house. So that's pretty much everything you get in the kit. Oh, including this case. Let me put this stuff back up here to give you a full picture of it. So a bunch of good stuff there. And then finally the case, right? This is the case that comes with it if you buy the Fly More combination. Now, I know I did a really quick unboxing there. I promise you next what I'll do is take a few minutes, show you the controller, show you the drone, show you the charger, and then explain basically what this drone can do along with some specifications. Now, I promise you, this is the first day I've had this thing. I haven't even gotten it up in the area. You can see the stickers are still on it. I'm going to take it out once I charge up the batteries and put this thing up in the air. I'll try and get some of that footage in this clip, but I really don't want to make this a 25-minute clip if I can help it. So I'll probably just do the overview and then close-ups of the products, and then I'll come back and do sort of a flight clip and go through some of the specifications in more detail. But I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this thing, and if you guys are as excited as I am about a new drone, I know it's not for everybody, but there's a lot of people out there that are looking for a smaller portable drone, especially new flyers. And man, I'll tell you, if this thing can do half the things that I expect it can do, this thing's going to be a home run for DJI. So stay tuned. We'll do some closer looks at the product, and then we'll give you some conclusions after I've had a chance to play with it a little bit. So stay tuned. Now we'll take a quick look at the 2 different Mavic Mini kits being released. In the basic Mavic Mini package, you'll find the aircraft, a set of 3 remote control cables, a complete set of instructions, a fast charging wall charger, 1 intelligent flight battery, the remote controller, 1 spare propeller kit, 1 micro USB charging cable, 1 pair of spare control sticks, and a screwdriver. If you decide to purchase the Fly More combination package, you'll also receive 2 additional batteries, 2 more spare propeller kits, a second micro USB charging cable, a pair of 360-degree propeller guards, the handy 2-way charging hub, and a custom Mavic Mini carrying case. Man, I had a lot of fun with that unboxing, but I cannot wait to get this Mavic Mini outside and up in the air. Because remember, it only showed up this morning, which means I haven't had any time to play with it or test it or fly it or anything, and there's nothing more frustrating to a nerd like me than having new technology like this that I can't even turn on. So what I was planning on doing next in this clip was giving you a closer look at all the components that make up the kit, and spending a few minutes on each one of them explaining how to use it, how to charge it, how they work together, so you understood exactly what the product can provide. The challenge is, if I do that and do it right, building that content into this unboxing clip means that this clip's going to be like 45, 50 minutes long. Some people are going to complain, other people aren't going to watch it, and I don't want that happening. So what I'd rather do is take the remainder of this clip to give you a quick understanding of the specifications for the Mavic Mini, and the minute I finish this clip, I'll start another clip where I'll give you that closer look, and I'll take the time needed to explain why these are different, all the technical marvels they've built into this, and how it separates it from other products on the market. And at the end, I'll probably do a comparison between the Mavic Mini and other popular quads that are on the market, because if you're looking to buy a quad for Christmas, you're going to want to know how this stacks up against the competition. When I finish that clip, I would love to fly this thing today, but the problem is it's already nighttime in New Jersey and I can't fly it. So tomorrow morning, first thing, I'll be up bright and early, I'll have 3 fully charged batteries, and I'll take this to a field near me and put it up for the first time. And I'll record that, so you'll actually see me flying it for the first time. We can enjoy that together. Now, I have every confidence that this thing is going to fly great and we're going to have a lot of fun with it, but it'll be kind of interesting if it doesn't, because I'm going to be doing it live and I'll record it. So once I finish that, then I'm going to take it to a lot of other locations around my home. I've got lakes and fields and farms and things that I can film, because I want to get it up in the air and give you a good indication of how it records video, what kind of pictures it can take, because understanding the raw specifications of a product is one thing, but actually seeing the kind of video it can produce and what kind of pictures it can take is a whole different thing. So I want you to get a real good feel for its capabilities up in the air, because I haven't flown it yet, so I don't really know what it's going to do, but I'm going to get it up in the air, and then I'll put a montage together at the end of that third clip that shows you a bunch of different scenarios where it's flying, recording video, and a bunch of different pictures, and that'll help you make a decision as to whether this is right for you or not. All right, so that's pretty much it. Now, I did mention that I'm doing this 2 weeks before the launch, so I should have all 3 of those clips done for launch day, and I'll probably put a series together. Part 1 will be the unboxing, part 2 will be the closer look, and part 3 will be the first flight. And then I've got a bunch of clips that I'm working on beyond that, where I'm going to do testing and top 5 questions and a bunch of other things. So stay tuned to the channel if you're at all interested in this product, because I'm going to go into very good detail about why it's different than other stuff on the market. All right, so let's get to the specifications. I'll start with the quad. And I have to giggle because I am shocked at how small this thing is. I'm also shocked at how close it looks to a Mavic, because it looks like they took a Mavic Pro and just left it in the dryer a little bit too long, because it's almost the scaled down version of the Mavic. Matter of fact, it's so small. There's my hand. Where's the quad? It's gone. Now, another thing I'd compare it to is like an iPhone, right? I've got an iPhone here. Here's the quad. You see it? Now it's gone. Where did it go? There it is. No, it isn't. Yep. So it's incredibly tiny. Now, of course, it's not as thin as the phone, but from a hand-holding size, this thing is incredibly small. And don't let the size fool you, because the specifications for this thing rival some of the bigger quads that are out there. So I think it's going to be a main competitor, obviously, for the Spark. If you're thinking DJI, Spark, Mavic Air, maybe even Mavic Pro. So until I get a chance to fly it, I'm just going to go on the specifications. So when I look at a quad, there are 2 things that I care about. I care about its flight characteristics and its video characteristics. So I'll start with the flight characteristics. The quad can fly for 30 minutes on a single charge. Now, that seems insane to me. A lot of people were saying, we'll get 15 minutes out and be really happy. I would have been happy with 15 or 20 minutes. The fact that it can do 30 minutes means that this thing is going to be up in the air for an awful long time. You can do a lot of filming with it. And the reason it can do that is because the quad weighs 249 grams. Just under the 250 mark. Now, that wasn't an accident. Obviously, we all know that 250 grams is the threshold where you have to, above that, register your quad. So being 249 grams at takeoff means you don't have to register this with the FAA. Now, that doesn't mean you can go crazy with it and do goofy things with it. You still have to play by the rules, but it does mean younger flyers can fly. People don't have to worry about the registration fees and all the things that are entailed with that. You just basically buy it and fly it, and you're good to go. So 249 grams. Now, your first thought might be, when you pick this thing up, it's a toy. I'm here to tell you it's not a toy. The technology built into this is generationally improved over all the quads that they've come out with. So they've taken all the brilliant stuff they built into the Mavics and the Phantoms and built a lot of it into this one. They just shrunk it down somehow. So 30 minutes, and it'll fly 2.5 miles, which is absolutely insane to me, because it's based on enhanced Wi-Fi. And normally you think in terms of thousands of feet, but the fact that it can fly 2.5 miles with that enhanced Wi-Fi means I'm going to have a rock solid signal when I keep it in visual line of sight. Because again, remember, 2.5 miles is as far as it can fly. You can't possibly see the drone out 2.5 miles. And in the United States, we have a visual line of sight requirement where you've got to keep it in your sight. So I'm not going to fly 2.5 miles, but I love the fact that it's strong enough, which means when I fly it in close, I'm going to have a rock solid signal. So 2.5 miles is its distance. it'll fly 30 miles an hour in sport mode. I know that's hard to believe because when you hold it, it's so light. It's light as a feather, but 30 miles an hour. So if you're in sport mode, this thing is just whizzing across the field. Now, I don't use sport mode when I'm filming. I typically use it like if there's a place I want to go to film something, a point of interest, I'll put it up in sport mode, fly out there in fast speed, drop it back down to regular recording mode. Then I'll record when I want to record. When I'm done, I'll put it in sport mode and swing it back. But sport mode at 30 miles an hour is going to be a speed demon. I can't wait to get this thing out and start flying it. So 30 minutes, 2.5 miles, 249 grams, and 30 miles an hour in sport mode. Those are the flight characteristics. All right, let's talk about the camera. A lot of people are going to bellyache about the fact that the sensor's a 1/2.3, which I think is perfect for this quad. Now remember, the Mavic had that same sensor. The Spark had that same sensor, and I think the Mavic Air had that same sensor. So the fact that they could cram that in there with the 3-axis stabilized gimbal with a 1/2.3 sensor, I think is amazing. It's going to give you really good video. So it can record 1080p at 60 frames. It'll record 2.7K at 30 frames per second. Now I record almost everything in 1080p when I use that for like videos online and things like that. If I need something that's 4K or I want a 1-inch sensor, DJI makes quads that have that, but they're a whole lot more expensive. They're 4 times the cost of this. So when you start thinking about it, the 1/2.3, it's a wonderful sensor, and it's moving 40 megabits a second of information back from that sensor to the processor. So I'm expecting this to have really good videos. But again, stay tuned to the channel because I'm going to actually put some videos up that I've recorded with this. Its field of view is 83 degrees, which means you're going to get a nice wide field of view when you're flying over that field or that lake or whatever you're recording. It's not quite 90, but 83 degrees is pretty good. So I think from a camera characteristics, I'm very, very happy with that. I know, again, people are going to complain about every little specification of the product, but you have to remember, this isn't going to be a competitor to like a Mavic Pro or some of the higher end quads. It's going to be a competitor for entry level flyers and people like me that want to take it with them when they travel, because 1080p is plenty fine for me when I'm out in the field, especially at 60 frames per second. And if I need better quality, I'll take the Mavic 2 along with me. All right, so let's talk about a few other things. I'll talk about the controller next. So the controller looks a lot like the controllers that we've used on the Mavics, going way back to the Mavic Pro. I like that they kept the full-size controller. There's a lot of speculation that the standard package wouldn't come with the controller and you'd fly it with your phone. They actually give you the controller. And again, it's enhanced Wi-Fi, which means it's not standard Wi-Fi. It's a little bit smarter and a little bit stronger than standard Wi-Fi would be. It runs on the 5.8 gigahertz frequency. A lot of times they have 2.4 and 5.8. They actually make a couple versions of this. So the one that hits the US is going to be 5.8 only, but other parts of the world get the 2.4 and 5.8. The good news is in the US, we have a stronger signal and we can fly further. So here it's 2.5 miles. Other parts of the world that are using the 2.4 and 5.8 can't fly nearly that far. So don't worry about it. The unit also is smart enough that when you first power it up, it's going to search for the cleanest signal in the area you're at. So it's going to actually listen to all the frequency bands on the 5.8 spectrum. It's going to find the one that's got the strongest signal with the least amount of noise, and it's going to bind with the quad on that frequency. So it's smart enough to know what frequency you can use to give you the best possible transmission. It also will give you 720p streaming video back from the quad. So when you're flying it and watching it on your phone through the application, you're going to get 720p quality video back, which is great because if you're flying, you want to see what you're trying to frame. You want to make sure you're not going to run into a tree, even though you're watching that line of sight. I always spin the quad around to see if I'm close to anything. Having 720p coming back is a really nice thing. All right, so in addition to that, I'll talk a little bit about the batteries. Let's talk about this one first. So it's got a 2550 milliampere hour battery in it, which is plenty of power for the unit to run for a couple of hours. I don't think it's going to be a problem. You'll probably go through 4 or 5 batteries. And again, I'll test all this stuff once we get a chance to get it outside and fly it, but 2550. The battery for the quad is a 7.2 volt, 2400 milliampere hours, so 30 minutes of flight time on this. I talked a little bit about the hub. The battery itself can be charged in the quad. So the quad itself on the back has micro USB here, and it's got the micro SD card slot there. What's interesting about this is if you get the Flymore combination, you get this really nice charging hub. 3 batteries go into it at the same time, and it'll charge those batteries sequentially. So whichever battery has the least amount of charge that it needs, it'll charge that first, then move on to the next one, finally move on to the third one. What's cool about this though, 2 things. Number one, it can fast charge. So this charger is a fast charging charger, and a lot of people don't know you can fast charge through micro USB. They think it only has to be USB-C, but this will actually fast charge the batteries, and it changes voltage. So it'll change from 5 volts to 9 volts to 12 volts. It's 18 watts of charging. So if you charge it with that charger and you use the right cable, because there's got to be a quick charge cable, you can actually charge the batteries really quickly in here. The other cool thing about this though, and I kind of looked at this when I did the unboxing, is the USB-A connection over here. So if I've used the batteries, maybe they're down to 25 or 30% because I've flown a little bit and they're depleted, I can slide them back in here, together collectively, they'll provide power at that USB-A connection, which means I've effectively got a battery bank with me when I'm traveling, which is really, really nice. So again, I love this company because they're not just building kind of better stuff or a little bit better stuff. They're really thinking about it. There was an engineer or a group of engineers that sat down and said, all right, we're going to build a charging hub. Can we make it cooler than just a standard charging hub? Well, why don't we make it a case that can hold the batteries as well as a portable battery bank? I love that kind of innovation. So I think that's a nice little touch. A couple other things. I had some questions initially about it myself. The micro SD card in the back, typically 32 or 64 gigabytes. This will support a 128 gigabyte memory card. You can decide how big you want to put in there. I typically go with 32 or 64 because I worry that if the card goes bad, and I've been flying for 6 hours, I've lost all that video footage. So I'll put a 32 in, a couple hours into the flight, I'll pull it out, put another one in, so I can fly all day and have maybe 3 or 4 cards with me, but it will support 128 gigabytes. It doesn't have crash avoidance on it. A lot of people are probably wondering about that because when you see the picture, it looks like it's got crash avoidance sensors up front. There is no crash avoidance in it. What it does have, though, is a set of sensors on the bottom. There are 2 on the outside, which I believe are time of flight sensors, and it looks like a miniature camera in the center, which I'm sure they're using for VIO, which is visual inertial odometry, which is a mouthful, and I'll explain what that means in a bit. Actually, in another clip, I'll do that. But what that means for you is that the quad has GPS and GLONASS, so it knows exactly where it is in a 3D spatial environment. The challenge is when you fly it in a house, you can't use GPS. So what these guys do, at low altitudes, they enhance the GPS, but in the house, it'll actually hover and be stable in the house. And for me, I'm going to fly this thing like nuts when I'm traveling because I think the video is going to be as good or better than the quads that I take with me now, but I'm going to fly it in the house all winter, and I love the fact that it's got that VIO and time of flight sensors on the bottom, so I can fly it in the house and it's going to be really, really stable. And I think that's all I wanted to talk about with the hardware. So let's talk about the software. So DJI isn't using the standard DJI Go 4 app. They've written an entirely new app for this called DJI Fly, and it's a lot simpler to use. It's got a lot of the functionality of the Go 4 application, but they made it a lot simpler. They made the screen bigger. They made it easier to fly. It has some NFZs built into it, so people are asking, geez, is it going to have NFZs or can I fly it where I want? They don't actually tell you that you're approaching an NFZ. When you power up the unit, it's going to tell you, can you fly or can't you fly? If you can fly, you can take off. If you can't, then you know you're in an NFZ. So they're trying to make it super simple. They've also built in a lot of cool features with their quick shots. So they've got rocket, droney, circle, and helix, which for new flyers that don't really have the skills yet to be able to pull that off by manually flying the drone, having that at the push of a button as part of the quick shots, I think is a great thing. It's going to make those new flyers feel very comfortable putting this thing up and capturing some amazing footage. So that's pretty much all I had for the specifications. I promise you I'm going to come back. I've got a lot of clips planned in this thing. I know there's a lot of interest in this drone. I'm really fired up about it, and I cannot wait to get it outside and fly it. So if you have any questions, I'm still putting together the top 10 questions clip that I'm working on. So if there are questions you have, drop them in the comments below. I'll add them to the list, and I'll make sure I build them into that clip. And if I have to do 2 clips, I'll do 2 clips, no problem. The other thing I did want to mention is if you want to support the channel, there are links below where you can actually buy this from DJI through our channel. We get a little commission for that. So if you like the channel, you want to support us, hit that link and buy your Mavic Mini through that link. We're going to have a ton of accessories for this. DJI's got a bunch coming out. I'll be doing extensive reviews on all accessories that are coming out for this product as well. But Drone Valley's got a few unique accessories that you're not going to find in the market anywhere else, and I'll have those up the day of launch. So that's pretty much it for today. So thanks an awful lot for watching. I love working on these kind of clips, and I know this was a little bit of a longer one, but there's a lot of information to get across to you guys, and I want to make sure I gave you everything you needed to get started with this quad. So thank you very much for watching. We really appreciate the interaction we get from you guys. The subscriber count's been going up, and I just have a lot of fun doing this. So I hope you guys are finding value in the clips. And until next time, happy flying.